can fly.
I'm Oleksandr Usyk. Welcome on my channel.
Whoa, what the big? Boom! I can see, I can fly. Enough, but never enough. Easy day. Today is easy day. Чекай, йому повинно трошки легше стати. Давай. Трошки чекаєш, діло не легше. Ти затягуєш. Раніше смерті не помреш. Давай, сказав! Look, I can fly.
Do you watch the Daniel Dubois fight? Do you have it on when you train?
All time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about them. Think about me. Yeah, be prepared. Like practice, but short fight. My coach look at what mistake for Daniel, my mistake.
Look, Mom, I can fly.
Preparation to the fight, it's 12, 16 weeks.
This is, it's like a nickname Da Vinci. Wolf Da Vinci. This is.
You got yesterday the t-shirt with Wolf.
That's what I said, yeah, same one at the house.
Yeah. So this is proper Armenia, Ukraine, anything. Who help? UK guys too, USA, but Europe, a lot of.
Good.
Thank you.
How can I pass it?
Yeah. Not. Boom. Yes. Maybe. Yeah. So. Jab, like a shoom. Yes.
Oleksandr Usyk is already fully locked into camp for Rico, but suddenly there's an unexpected development. Anthony Joshua has now stepped directly into that environment, training alongside him day after day. This isn't just a casual crossover, it could genuinely reshape how Usyk sharpens himself for a completely different kind of challenge. So what's actually unfolding inside that camp, and why is it drawing so much attention right now? One thing remains clear, Usyk never adjusts his identity for anyone. Still, you can clearly see this camp has been structured with someone like Rico in mind. There's a heavy focus on rotational movement, bodyweight conditioning, and drills that build balance under pressure. Even the core work is designed to keep him stable while constantly moving, pivoting, and adapting mid-action.
Last time was 40. Yeah. 50. And 15. 50. 5 or 0. Not 1 and 5. Argumento.
Давай, мала, палай! У-у-у!
The latest training clips have once again sparked strong reactions across the boxing community. What Liam Goff is really pointing toward isn't just the headline of Usyk and Joshua sharing a camp. It's the deeper meaning behind it, especially with Rico as the target. He suggests AJ's decision to place himself in that setup is intentional. If Usyk is already operating at an elite level, then AJ being right there means he's absorbing that same intensity every single day.
In a 6-round knockout win, but he is back now in training, looking still in really good shape. You'd expect nothing less from Anthony Joshua, of course, looking lean and, crucially, He has a gym mate. He's got Oleksandr Usyk in camp with him. All of this is leading me to believe that, as I said, we're getting an announcement on AJ sooner rather than later. I'm seeing a lot of people, I've even seen talks reporting on it now, that they think Dylan White is one of the names. I see.
Considering everything they've been through in the ring, there's now a genuine level of respect between them, which explains why this collaboration is even possible. Goff mentions how Usyk checked on AJ after the accident, and now AJ has returned to work with his team. That alone shows the atmosphere in camp isn't negative or hostile, it's focused and constructive. That kind of energy benefits Usyk, especially when preparing for something as unconventional as Rico.
AJ in camp with his team, and crucially with Oleksandr Usyk. You know, Oleksandr Usyk was talking about Anthony Joshua, saying that he spoke with him everything immediately, well, not immediately, but not long after the tragic incident, the tragic accident that happened to Anthony Joshua. So Oleksandr Usyk has become a good friend with AJ, and you could tell that there was a big mutual respect even after their two fights. In particular, I think for Usyk, when AJ threw the belt, that wasn't nice, that wasn't a good thing. But the fact that he apologized immediately, I think that there became such a respect between the two. They shared the ring, they shared 24 rounds, and there's obviously a great deal of respect there. And obviously now AJ is seeking the help of Oleksandr Usyk, seeking help of his team.
He also emphasizes that Usyk's training mindset is relentless. There's no slowing down, no wasted sessions. So when AJ tries to match that level, it naturally creates internal pressure. That's where it becomes valuable for Usyk too, because now he has someone beside him pushing to mirror his pace, his output, and his discipline.
I think for AJ's mental state, being around someone like an Oleksandr Usyk, because Oleksandr Usyk, to me, look, I'm sure he has his down days, where he's maybe not exactly nice to be around, he can be a bit snappy, but he is such a character, and you see him in the gym, the way he's interacting with AJ's loving it. That is the best thing AJ could be doing. That's literally the best thing he could be doing. I think it's going to help him so much, both physically and mentally. And I think seeing someone like an Oleksandr Usyk, really, we all know what Usyk is like. He goes for it, in training. There's no messing around, there's no stone unturned. I think AJ, being the competitor that he is, he'll look to see, okay, can I keep up with Oleksandr Usyk? I know I've been through what I've been through, but look, I think I feel good. Let's see if I can keep up with him. Let's see what we can do. I think if he does that, I think he'll tell us a lot. And
at the same time, Goff didn't hold back in questioning the idea of Usyk facing Rico. He argued that it clashes with everything Usyk has stood for throughout his career. Usyk built his name by consistently taking on the toughest challenges, often on enemy territory, and overcoming elite opponents without hesitation. That's exactly why this particular decision feels so surprising to him.
Mandatory for Anthony Joshua, goes to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, into the Lions Den, schools him completely. No issues, no negotiations, no this, no that, no all this nonsense, just have gloves, we'll fight. Brilliant, amazing. Rematches him, which he was obliged to do, even as a mandatory. Goes to Saudi Arabia. Joshua just signed the deal with DAZN, lifelong deal at Matchroom. He was the A-side, even though he wasn't the champion. Doesn't matter, schools him again, beats him again. Brings Daniel Dubois to Poland, that was a mandatory. It was seen as a kind of coming home party for Oleksandr Usyk, given what was happening in his country. No one begrudged him that. Fights Tyson Fury, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, undisputed. Turkey was constantly with Tyson Fury, constantly on his side. Seemed inevitable that they were going to give Fury the win regardless. Goes to Oleksandr Usyk on a split decision, should have been unanimous. Rematches him, beats him again, this time more soundly. Fights Dubois, Wembley Stadium. The fight before that, Dubois just knocked out Anthony Joshua in Wembley Stadium. See a pattern here.
Johnny Nelson believes Oleksandr Usyk has already cleared out the top tier of opponents. In his view, rematches with names like Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua no longer carry the same financial weight. He sees this fight as less about legacy and more about timing and financial gain. Usyk has already proven his level, and now the priority shifts toward maximizing earnings while staying at the top. For Nelson, this isn't about adding to greatness, it's a calculated business move.
Well, you've got to look at Alexander, what he's done. He's wiped the floor with everybody. He's established himself at the top there. So now you look at him and you'll think financially, will he be in a better position than Tyson Fury? No, not in my opinion. Anthony Joshua? No, not in my opinion. The big money fights aren't out there for him, so he's got to do something. He's got to put himself in a position where he's got to win, because he's proved he's top draw. So in this fight here, I think it creates interest, intrigue. I'm quite sure there's a healthy pay packet at the end of it. This is now business for him. This is now because he's thinking, I've proved it all to you, so I've got to make as much as I can. Because remember, the talk was Deontay Wilder for a short while, because he wants to get all the scalps. He wants to look at the biggest names out there with the least amount of risk, and you can't blame him. That was a legacy.
Showbiz the adult frames this fight as a matter of timing above all else. The elite names aren't currently available, mandatory obligations are pending, and Usyk hasn't been as active recently. So instead of forcing a high-risk matchup, stepping in with Rico Verhoeven makes sense. Rico still brings physical advantages like size and power, but his boxing level doesn't match elite standards. From that perspective, Usyk is expected to stay in control, not because Rico lacks danger, but because he's stepping into a completely different discipline.
Oleksandr Usyk is fighting Rico Verhoeven. He's the kickboxing king. So hit the Tyson bell. I'm going to break all this down, and I know you guys are wondering, wait a minute, you Oleksandr Usyk, you're the best heavyweight champion in the world. You're defending your WBC crown against who? Why not Agit Kabayar? Why not Fabio Wardley? I thought, what happened with you and Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder? How about any of those guys out there? Atama Moses, all those guys. Why a kickboxing champion? So let's break this all down. I'm going to tell you guys why now. First of all, let's touch on why not any of those fighters I mentioned. Number one, availability. Oleksandr Usyk did call out Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, but Deontay Wilder, as he should, needed a tune-up. And honestly, so does Oleksandr Usyk, but we'll get to that.
He also highlights the broader value of this move outside the ring. A massive event, crossover appeal, and global attention all play a role. For Usyk, it's about staying active, earning well, and maintaining sharpness ahead of a more serious challenge down the line. That's why the expectation remains simple. Usyk handles business, gains experience from the outing, and exits without unnecessary damage before facing a true contender.
I used with Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua was looking for a quick tune-up before he started getting back into, fighting regularly, and he took on Jake Paul. Because it's like, well, I might as well tune up against Jake Paul in one of the biggest purses I've ever had in my life. So that kind of makes sense with Oleksandr Usyk. Listen, I want to do a big show. I want to do the spectacle. Always admired those type of guys, and I want to test my might against those guys. Also, it's a tune-up and it's a bag. So I know it looks extremely strange. Hell, it is strange. But if you look at everything and consider it all, it makes sense. And Oleksandr Usyk in his advancing ages, hell, so is Rico. I think he's like 36, 37 years old. It's time to have a show, get a bag, have some good fun.
Luke Thomas broke down the competitive side and made it clear that most don't expect Verhoeven to win. While Rico is younger, bigger, and highly accomplished in kickboxing, elite boxing is a completely different level. Usyk has spent years facing top heavyweights and solving complex styles inside the ring. So even if Verhoeven has physical advantages, it doesn't mean he matches the technical ability of one of boxing's best. Thomas also zoomed out, pointing to a bigger pattern across combat sports. He noted that many of today's biggest headlines aren't built around the most meaningful fights, but rather unusual matchups, cross-sport clashes, or appearances from aging stars. According to him, when spectacle begins to outweigh true competition, it reflects a shift toward short-term attention rather than sporting merit. Wade Plemons shares a similar but slightly more cautious view. He still leans toward Usyk as the clear favorite, but doesn't completely dismiss Rico's threat, especially given how dangerous he is in his own sport. His concern comes from past crossover bouts, where unpredictability can creep in if the boxer isn't fully sharp. Even so, he questions what this fight represents, seeing it more as a spectacle than a legitimate title-level contest, particularly with real contenders waiting. Both camps remain fully focused, but the dynamic has clearly shifted with Anthony Joshua now training inside Usyk's setup. Usyk continues to emphasize movement, control, and precision, but AJ's presence adds size, strength, and genuine resistance in sparring. It's no longer just structured drills, it's about handling real pressure from someone capable of pushing back at a high level every single day. And that's what makes this entire situation even more compelling.